Let me know what time I will start.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, it's in YouTube.
It's not showing over here.
This is we are live now. Just we are live now.
Yeah. Hi. So just make me the host. Hello everyone. Hello. Hi. I'm Hitanshu representing
We
CMEDU
are live
as
now.
a hello. I'm so sorry.
Just we are live now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hitanshu, we are live. You can go for it.
Can I start now?
Yes,
Because
please.
I just yeah, perfect. Thanks. Hi everyone. Hello, I'm representing CMEDU. I'm Hitanshu Patnaik here, who is a trainer for Ableton and the Push. Today we are going to do a couple of things in terms of Ableton, the basic workflow along with the Push. So welcome back to uh, to the workshop of Ableton, where I'm going to teach you something in terms of I'm going to show you something in terms of the basic workflow of the Push. How does it look like? What is the basic workflow? How does it sync with the tool and everything, so on and so forth. And yeah, let's get started with that. I mean, short of a falling time, so definitely we can start immediately from the point, and where I'm going to share my screen with you along with my push. All right, so basically I am sure, I'm damn sure those who are the viewers right now today, those who are going to join or already joining in, they must be knowing about this tool already, and couple of features which generally we must know. What is the strategy generally we maintain it when we start with the live sessions and everything. Along with that, we do couple of things like performances. So Ableton is the software which is completely meant for performance. Along with that, your basic recording techniques which you generally do with other DAWs, along with the mixing techniques. So it is a one and all one software which is comprising and consisting of all the operations, where the main features which generally Ableton since 1998, where they have started out with this DAW with the live performances and the static variations of the the flow of the basic flow of the you know live performances through it, where mostly people they do the live performances like electronic music artists along with those who are doing the stage shows. And I believe as a producer, I generally do real-time production with it, so it's always in fun when you generally not going away from your flow. That is what generally we do it. So let me introduce myself. I am a faculty in CMEDU. It has been 3 years, and I am teaching music production and sound. Along with that, I've been working for industry more than six and a plus years, and working main form like the main frame of my work is for South movie industry. But more than that, I'm also working for many individual artists and advertisement industry, and also mostly for animations, and been doing scorings and mixing engineering, and most of the times I do the work for production for many major artists, and to the name of few like Raghu Dixit, and also been associated with Lahiri T series. So um, today I'm here to showcasing something in terms of a very basic workflow of live, and along with the push. How does it exactly they sync to each other? When I say live, it is Ableton Live. So generally we call it as live or sometimes Ableton. So that's how it is. It is one of the very major tool nowadays in industry which we use it, and it has always been there since a decade or 2 decades and more. And people they love to use it, mostly to use it in terms of real-time performances. Today I would be showing a couple of things of all those bit of it, where I would definitely tell you before that since we are in a Zoom call, so probably I wouldn't be able to play most of the real time. So I have another setup for that, where you can hear from the speaker itself while I'll be performing something. So just for a few a bit, I'm going to show you that. Number one. Number two, when I'm going to show you a couple of things in terms of working features along with the live performances feature, then along with how do you do normally a mixing through just push without even seeing the tool. That is what it's all about. So let's get started. Let me switch my camera, and for that, so here you go. You see um, the push here, which is lying down. This is what Ableton push. Before it was push 1, now it is push 2. It is one of the very you know a sophisticated and a very ergonomical device which is here, where it lets you not even see your computer screen. Everything, the workflow which is completely you see within the same device itself, when you do everything within it. So it's very easy to use it, and where you can perform, you can do mix, and you can do many more other stuff with this. So a simple form where I can show you, unlike you've been knowing about many facts like launchpad or a pad controller, is generally it is there since the electronic music inception, where generally musicians they intend to play something on the pad, even though you are not a piano player, even though you are not a musician. When you tap your toes, you actually enjoying the music. When you go to the pubs or the club, you enjoy the music, so you shake your head or you do everything. That way, what if you touch something on the surface of the table? For example, if I'm gonna touch my surface of the table, and if I do some beats out of it, so like the same way you got the pads here. Rather just tapping on the surface of table, you get the launch pad. That is what the main feature and one of the very best way to accentuate your ideas as a musical ideas to your music, and you are kind of making the music out of it. All right. So if I'm just gonna play something, and here this is what the push which you see, and something is already there. This is the screen, main screen. This is your 64 numbers of pads. Along with that, there are some controls on the left and the right, where some navigation control and some other controls in terms of your grid modes. Along with, you see the entire 64 pads comprising of sequencers, the players or the notes, along with your bar grids. All right. So what do you mean by bar grids is nothing but how many bars you passed, or what is the numbers of bars has been passed. That is what is all about the bar grids. So you can see from left to the right it goes sequential manner, and over here you see is everything for the playing purpose. For example, I have exactly inserted a drums, and I'm playing something. I hope I can make you hear something. Hope you can hear this. Yeah, all my settings are perfect. So all right. So since I'm on the Zoom call, probably it's getting lag a bit, but yes. So the main feature of this is mostly you do performance and you printing something and you do mixes. So you got all the controls here. So starting from inserting your instrument in it. Now for example, if I need to start off from the left top corner to the right bottom corner, then I'll be starting from here. You see the metronome controls, and you can see beneath of it there is a tap tempo. What is a tap tempo does? If I'm gonna tap it, it's gonna read out my BPM values. That is how it is all about. There's a metronome where one hot switch is turn on the metronome, it starts off with the metronome. You can toggle the switch in between turning off and on. So it is turn on and now turned off. So tapping tempo always helps us out for live performances. Where you see everything here, there is a sequencer pattern as I told you. So all this sequencer pattern completely comprising of number of grid values, starting from 1 by 4 up till 1 by 32 with triplet values. You can see right now there are a couple of things. If I just close my camera a bit, so probably you can check it out. So that's what it's all about. I can change the grid values at any point of time. So something you see the numbers of divisions, it's a time grid divisions. So when I say bar and bits, in between the bits deals with the division values in it. So one bar, if I consider 4x4 time signatures, then within the 4x4 time signatures, you get the 4 beats. Within every beats, you get 4 divisions. Exactly, this is what you deals with the divisions values. And this is the entire process. Call it as a step sequencer. So this entire machine is an instrument. So you don't have to see the software on your computer screen. Rather, you just focus on your eyes on it, and you can do the live performances real time. That is what the main purpose of it. Whereas I hope you can see my screen where you can see that there is something is blinking here. This is mostly for the BPM which is exactly I'm running with, and if I just gonna hit the play button on my Ableton, and if I turn on my metronome, so you can see this is on the time. So conclusion, either you can get your cursor here 1 2 3 4, or rather the same thing, I would definitely, you can focus both the screen of mine right now, where one screen is for my Ableton along with another one is for my push. So the same thing I can do here. So let's say like this is what my the pace 1 2 3 and 4. So this is exactly which is happening right now. So mostly for the live performances, when you wanted to have some static variations of your music, in terms of, let's say you do a progressive music and you have multiple time changes inside it, that time you can do your live performances from all the way 90 bpm to, let's say, 130 bpm if you really wanted to change those. So I'm just putting all the scenarios and the basic practical scenarios generally as a musician or as a music performer you deals with. Then slowly moving to the left, you see there are some basic controls where I can see my first track, the second track. I guess there's a reflection. Give me a minute. Okay, sorted. So now you can see this is the first track, the second track, the third track. Generally, if I need to launch a completely new live set, generally Ableton call it as a live set when you open it. So when I say a live set, when you wanted to perform, so let me create a new one, new live set. And so the basic view of your Ableton looks like this, and I hope you can see your push now. I can see right now 2 midis and 2 audio devices, along with, you know, couple of things here which you could see it. All right, and many more other stuff which you could do, that is set up your entire pad dynamic settings and display and the LED brightness. So you can see there's a hell lot of kind of hellos and brightness coming in out of it. I can just adjust them. Generally it is for your eyes and for your display purpose, and you can just make it 100% and so on and so forth. But mainly this is what your work frame which you see and you do all your work. For example, in a very short format, if I would say, let me launch one of my drums. So I need to do, first step is go to the browse. You can see there's a browse option, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna rotate this. These are very touch sensitive, and you can see there are previewing the sounds as in what sounds exactly I'm going to load in. Alright, and I can just toggles, or I can just search what sound I exactly wanted to insert in. Starting from the top, let's say for example drums. So drums is one of the important asset of any music we generally deals with. Alright, it's a backbone, or generally when we deals with just any kind of rhythmatic elements. So drums is the groove which we deals with. So now let me just get into it. You can see variety of drums and it's previewing. There's a preview option I can turn on and off. I can toggle in between them. There's a hi-hat, there's kick, and I'm kind of, as I told you, they are very touch sensitive, and just one touch it recognizes what exactly I'm trying to do. So rather it's the same thing which you do here in your screen. If you can just focus on the screen right now, on your Ableton screen, where you just do the same thing with your mouse and cursor and your keyboard. You scroll up and down and you do everything out of it. So that's how it is all about. And now let me just get, say for example, some random drums I'm gonna take, and I'm gonna just check it out a bit of workflow. Oops, give me a minute. Alright, cool. 909. So you see the legendary 909 808 and 707 drum kits. Generally we deals with in a different formats and when different sound textures of it. So the most famous 808, where there are some variations which you see it along with the boom kit you can see right now. the basic kits which generally you get it in your Ableton with the package, which is nothing but this packs. If you just see focus your screen, you can see both the screen right now. One is my Ableton screen, another one is my push. So any of the screen you can check, where I'm also focusing on my Ableton screen on the computer, that the packs which you see it with hell lot of numbers of packages in it, and these are all the sample packs, the synthesizers included, and these are all associated with the drum and the drum rack. So straightforward, I'm coming to the point that Ableton deals with drum rack. Drum rack is one of the very famous technology designed, or probably the process of numbers of devices together designed to help you out to form your drums pattern, to help you out to perform it through your pads, which is completely coinciding with your push. Or like push, there are different controls in the market, that is Arturia, or let's say Novation SLMK3, or MK, of course, your Akai, MK, all the different controls back in those days which you've been dealing with, and APK, MPK controls. Those are the the inception of the drum sequencers, and Akai is one of the biggest company where associated with many electronic music firms and the artists, where you might have heard about the MPK controls with a drum machine in it, and along with a bigger display where you see everything is happening inside it. You perform, you control, you mix, and you start accentuate your play button on, so that the viewers can enjoy the music. So within one box, you get everything in it. So same goes now. We are into the digital revolutions. We are into a different era right now, where everything is digital and computerized. So that is when this kind of asset helps us out to simulate or control something, and where I would definitely say something where, as a producer, as I told you, generally we always wanted to keep on listening our groove while we compose, while we make our groove. For example, if I would go in this way, where while explaining all this, I'll also show you quick workflow of push with some features which is there already, where most of you must be knowing about it, because I'm gonna get mixer of viewers, where those who already have known about this stuff, those who have no idea about it. So what if like you will get some features which you might not have heard about it. So let's just check it out, and one by one I'll be showing you, where starting from the browser, and I'm just clicking on my browser here, and here I'm getting the same browser which I get on the screen, and I'm getting into the drums and I'm auditioning them, where you see the preview off, which is apparently in the status off. Now I'm gonna turn it on, so turn it on. Now it is auditioning me, it is showing me, and you can see the screen. You can see the screen underneath of my browser. You see there is a headphone sign. This is the same preview option which you get it, just to preview what elements you're going to insert, or what elements you're going to import inside your track. And as I know, in the Ableton individual tracks, that's how it exactly you get it. To create any MIDI track or new track, you always go to add track in the push. So again, focus on the push, and over here what I'm trying to do is adding a track. What is the type of track you want to create it? Here you go, MIDI track, audio track, return track. I can just go any of this and I can create it. Along with that, what you get it is, with that particular track, what you want to keep it inserted, starting from audio effects of Ableton inside it, where most of your stock plugins comes with the Ableton, where you see starting from amp until you reach to the end, which is vocoder. If you get to the Max for Live, which is one of the very important another side of the Ableton, it's an extension of Ableton, where you design your own bit, you design your own kind of devices with the help of your understanding of codings and getting the transformers and devices, and you're designing your own virtual synthesizer or sampler in it. So that is called Max for Live. Mostly you design your own asset, rather you depending on something else which is already designed by designers. Go to the plugin sections, where you see the third parties audio units, AU, which is one of the another extensions. Mostly you deals with couple of things. For the Pro Tools, AAX. For the Ableton it is, and the Logic is audio units, along with the VST3 and 1 and 2. VST3s, those are another extension formats with different extension format, where you get all the third party plugins and VSTs. with that. Along with, you see the third parties names over here, like Waves. I have Valhalla, I have Slate Digital, and everything. I can just go and check, and I just insert it to my channel strip. So it's very easy. So you whatever there inside your computer, you see everything here. And for me, it is now, I'm really off the computer views, and I'm completely on my on my push, and I'm exactly seeing one after another whatever I wanted to load in, and I wanted to just delete it. So everything I can do here. Now the right section you can see right now. Let me just create one track first. Let me create a MIDI track first. Let me get a drum. Let's say let me get a instrument, because I already have a drums in it. And these are the Ableton stock instruments which you see, starting from wavetable, tension, simpler, sampler, operator, then impulse, electric, then again you get the drum rack here, and collision, and analog is one of the sophisticated synthesizer which you get it inside it. And it is the most the sound of the analog is mostly, it is the replica of Moog or Waldorf or all those synthesizers which is famous in the market nowadays, and it is there since 80s. And there are many more other stuff which you get it in the instrument, like sampler. For example, I want to get a piano in it, so getting to the sampler, then over here I'm getting into the pianos and keys, and here I can audition them by previewing them. There's an abstract piano, and I can just slowly go. So you see varieties of instruments, along with some of them already little processed. For example, sometimes piano you see as a processed piano, so like that and so on. There is another sampler in Ableton which you deals with called simpler, and you see over here the categories of the instrument. In simpler, the categories are ambient, bass, booms. So every instrument has a different patches already designed by the developer, and that is Ableton. And you see some orchestral. You see the flute. Alright. So with all the accents which you get it. Alright. So let me just go to the cancel button, and I'm gonna load my first track MIDI with the drums. So I'm exactly rather browsing it. I can do many things with this. Add device. So in Ableton, mostly the instruments and the plugins, they call it as a device. So I'm getting to this button called add device here, clicking on and searching for my drums first. Let's say I'm gonna go to an interesting drums over here, 909 or a 909 core kit, which is the same legendary sounds and the texture with it. Once I click on that, it's loaded inside. Now what you see, the first 4 sections and the another 4 sections. So total is 64 pads comprising of a sequencer along with the pad controls for the drum rack. But what if you want to play the entire whole tracks together? I mean, let's say the entire whole 64 pads together. You can do that as well on the instrument sections. But the drums, what do you mean by drums? Drums is more of performing and sequencing. Sometimes as a musician you perform, sometimes as a musician you have the idea to accentuate so that you are dependent on the sequencer. And what do you mean by sequencer? Which automatically lets you play something after you design your pattern, by initiating the pattern style, the speed of the pattern, along with some accents, along with the positions of the MIDIs. And it is completely comprises of the MIDI notes and the MIDI protocol. So since the 10-point version released after Ableton 9, they have added up a clip button we can see over here right now. This clip is nothing but your MIDI clip, where you can see the view with your MIDI clips. For example, I want to design some pattern by using this 32 sequences, step sequences, or I can say 4 patterns over here. And all these 4 patterns, 1, 2, 3, 4 patterns, are completely comprises of the numbers of bars which I want to delete. I want to deal with. So this is first bar, second bar, third, fourth, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bar, up till the numbers of bar which you deal with. 16 bars I can deal with at one go. So all I need to do is I'm gonna design, and as I know that this is my instrument section, this is already designed by the developer with this instrument 909 core kit. I'm gonna first check my first element, and where these are the same pattern which you see as left to the right pattern of go. That means when I say a music theory understanding, over here right now I have a arteria for you, and what you see here is starting from C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G sharp. You go like a music theory as a chromatic sequences. So in push or in any drum pad, you go with the sequences from left to the right, and along with that, the next above one, then left to the right, like that, and so on. But since this is a drum rack, so what you see here is a kick, and by default, this is all falling on the C. So the first key is kick, and the second key is, and there's a rim shot. All right, and the beautiful thing is these are all grouped. As I know, if I would show you my screen now, just focus on my screen, you can see right now there's the same drum rack which you get it and you deals with, and it coincides with the position of the kick, rim, snare, clap. And this is called general MIDI mapping, which is completely coinciding with your the pattern design on your sequencer. So you can see right now I'm auditioning one after another, and I can play like this. So there's my hi-hats, I'm auditioning them, some tom-toms, rim shot, and if I have a pattern already designed in my mind, so that's how exactly you do it. Because I'm on my Zoom call, so what I'm gonna do is this time, just to show you a flawless performance, is I'm gonna increase my volume, and a bit I'm going to take my output through my SSL so that I can show you a precise performances, and I hope you can see it. Let's check it out. So now the same pattern I'm gonna play with my flawless performances on the time. So that is how you do it. It is just like how you're tapping on your table surface. So sometimes you snap, you clap. So the same thing which you do over here, and if you get the flow of it, if you get the grasp of it, that what is a live performances, if you are on the time, if you really understand time signatures, the basic of it, I'm not even asking you to go and study a proper music theory, but if you understand the basics of it, you are done. Any normal layman can be a bit of a musicians. What if you want to accentuate your ideas? Generally, what happens? What is the difference between a normal layman and a musician? Where a normal musician, he knows it. What exactly going the scientific reason behind that? But a normal layman, he doesn't know. But they understand what is going on. That is why we can understand the music. So that way, if I would ask you to just hit the kick, and with this beat, so you are exactly playing on the time. And let's say you have a pattern design in your mind. You're gonna keep on practicing every day, and then let's say the hi-hats goes with a double speed. So you probably can see some velocity sensitivities going on. This is exactly how a percussionist or a drummer, or or a octapad player, they needs to play it. Let's consider about the acoustic drums. When an acoustic drums get played by a drummer, he do not hit the kick every time with the same intensity of the velocities, right? That is how MIDI protocol are also designed with the velocity, which we all know that where 0 to 127 of the velocity steps which you deals with. So what is the requirement of a velocity in a machine? It is the same humanization which you are applying it. This is a very simple reason, we know that. So the same thing which you can see it, and where I can exactly play softer, hard, and more hard. I hope you can hear it. Give me a minute. And I hope that I'm completely like making things audible to you. Just let me know.
Yeah, Hitanshi, everything's audible.
Perfect, thanks. So So let me just make a pattern now and let me start printing it. So the same thing how I supposed to go with, and when I just start playing something and here and where I know that as a session views, these are all single clip grids which comprising of musical data carrying either MIDI or audio data in it. Double click on that, it's the same MIDI roll which you see it as a clip editor, which you can see also on your Ableton screen clip. Now focus on your another camera and another screen, I'm so sorry. So you see that the same clip editor which you see it in your push. Now either I can write the music or I can perform. Now first I'll tell you how I can write it with the help of sequencer. So now sequencer comprising of numbers of steps starting from 1 till 8, 1 till 8, 1, 8, 1, 8. So all total 32 steps you get it, and as I know 16 steps is equal to 1 bar in a 4x4 time signature. That way I'm exactly getting into 2 bars. That means first 16 is all about the 1 bar, then second 16 is all about another second bar, and all these bars are coinciding with my another sections of the pad sections which you can see here right now. Apparently this is first bar which is already there. All I need to do is I need to go for another bar. I just need to double tap on that. So my Ableton understand right now I want to go with the 2 taps. There you go. Or if you want to again change your mind, you want to just go for 1 bar as a loop, either of it you can double tap it. So now my first position understanding of a sequencer is the positioning of your elements. When we say the sequencer, the patterns design and the elements are placed on the time. So that is why if I just hit as a normal, even if I don't understand as also music theory, now what if I need to first understand is the step sequencer is the first division is, let's say, the first kick. Then let's say if I'm just gonna go for another position, let's say 5th, and if I'm gonna hit the play button where you get the navigation control, alright, the navigation control, and along with the transport controls here, there's a record button, there's a play button. Now since I have designed one pattern of the kick, and if I'm gonna play that, of course, I need to just check something. Give me a minute. So the rim shot is playing apparently, and you can see the same thing which is happening down here. So now I'm gonna go to the kick. Now I want to design the kick. So go to the rim shot, take it out, go to the kick. Now if I'm gonna turn on the metronome, now since I'm completely reading off and I'm kind of trying to understand where my another third and the fourth kick has to come, so here and here I guess I'm gonna design this. If you really want to go with a deep house kind of a number, let's say I'm gonna increase my tempo, so instantly you can increase, there you go, the tempo button here, and I'm increasing to, let's say, mostly the typical deep house or a house track you want to design it. So let me just hit the play button again, take off the metronome, and this time I'm going to do what? I'm going to share my Zoom audio now with you. Alright, and I hope you're gonna hear it from my Ableton. Now I want to add on a rim shot either, or let's say my mind is all about I want to add up hi-hats in it. And you can see both the screen on my Ableton screen, on my push to screen, and there's a hi-hats. So I want to go with a pattern like this. Let me just get into the hi-hats right now, and I'm gonna design my sequencer. So every time each pad carries all the 32 sequences. So if I design right now the kick, now I'm gonna design my hi-hat. So the sequence is completely empty right now. It is glowing little light white color. And now I'm gonna do what? I'm gonna probably just design every alternative steps 1, 2, 5, and 1, 3, 5, 7. So let's check it out how the pattern is. And I can see right now in your screen the kick exactly down section which is going apparently, along with the hi-hats on the above region which is going apparently, which is exactly carrying the position of first steps, the third and the fifth and the seventh. If you add on more, then 9, then 11, 13, then 15, like that and so on. So the first bar which I'm dealing with right now, and hit the play. So as I told you, mostly it is all about the live performances along with the natural feel of the humanization, because when I play, I do not want my notes to play with the same intensity. So what I can do, I can come to here, the accent, and you can see right now there's an accent button here. Get on that and click on this, which is blinking apparently accent, and I can change my intensity of my all hi-hats, because hi-hats is where the most humanization part comes in, most expressional feel comes in. And there you go. Also with the kick, sometimes you do not need the same intensity of the kick. So for example, I want to increase my intensity. Did you see something glows little more? Or probably I can just take it off, or probably slowly I can press it a bit, or like that and so on. But by default my accent takes it to 127. So that is why whatever the intensity I applied before, it took it up to 127. So mostly accent is mostly for the highest value of the intensity or the volume of the elements, which goes step by step here right now. Let's say this is going slow volume, this is going higher, and I'm taking off my accent, and same goes I can do with the kick also. I can do for my kick. The hi-hats here, they are designed, and again I'm gonna turn on my accent, which is blinking. Let's say every alternatives hi-hats I'm increasing my intensity to 127. 127 when I say this is all about the higher volume of the element. So I hope you are getting it, what is happening on the accent of my every third or alternative hi-hats position. Now if you really want to do this kind of stuff, again go back and take it off your accent, and the amount of the pressure which you're applying it, and if I'm clicking on any of my notes, you see the view got changed completely. It was before like this, and this is nothing but my cliff editor, the button which exactly I've clicked on from any of these present positions, and I'm turn it on my click, and any of the sequencers pattern, if you click on and press and hold, then what you see here is the nudge, the length, the fine, and velocity. So each of the steps you can edit it. So each of the steps you can edit it in terms of what? Nudge. So you can see what is happening down. I'm changing the position. This is manually when you get into, now look at my Ableton screen on my computer. So which is manually you do by yourself by moving your cursor here and there, right? But the same thing you can do it, whatever the positions you have created, you can change them, or you can alternate them the way you're looking for, however the way you're looking for. So that's how it is. So this is one my pattern. Let's say I change the pattern, but I want my patterns to go little this side, little right side, my first hi-hats, this one I'm talking about, and you can see my push to screen right now. And I'm gonna do what? I'm gonna press and hold, and I'm going to nudge a bit, and this is what the length, nothing but how much length, or what is the durability of the length, which I'm increasing or decreasing, which is apparently length in terms of nudge, in terms of length, one step. So you see that one step, and along with the fine, this is nothing but adjusting your note length on the end position. Either you can, say for said, get into one step, see either one step which is going on, or I can adjust in between. Now let's say how it's going to sound like. It's little more swinging, and it's more little going off beat. Now let me just do the same thing with the another step, and changing my nudge and changing my position of my note. And anyway, it's a hi-hat, so you don't have to work on your longer notes. So I'm changing the previous one length also the same. So you're sorted in that way. You do not have to see your screen, and what you're doing is, now let me add on one snare. Let me add a clap. This is a clap. Now you can see the sequencer pattern are empty right now. I'm gonna add one, and for that I need to do is I'm gonna do a little bit of practicing and auditioning, or rather I'm gonna keep on positioning, and I'm gonna add on that, because the things are very easy for you when you're playing something and you keep on listening something. You will get to know the grasp of your pattern that you want to design it. For example, this is what is going on. where I wanted to add on my claps depends on my understanding of this pattern, depends on my how I want to go with it. So in that way, if I have to play something, rather I'm gonna cross check on my sequences one after another. It is very easy, as you know, though you don't know what should be the position, because it takes hell lot of a practices. So after one fine day, when you know the number of practices are more, then you would definitely know your position precisely where you wanted to add up your pattern, because you already know the pattern design in your virtual mind. It's just that you want to accentuate it or you want to apply it. So there you go. I'm gonna add on one by one. Now, I really don't want that kind of a things to go. So rather probably the second one, and I'm gonna take it off. So that is how you can positioning your or place your MIDI notes wherever you want. So you can see right now, whenever I'm pressing something, there's a MIDI notes which is adding on. You can see exactly what is happening down on your clip. Let me increase the length. Nah, I didn't like the hi-hats going on, how the pattern is going on right now. Rather, all I need to do is, like, I'm gonna take it off. I'm gonna do like this way. So let's check it out. Sounds interesting and sounds little kind of more groovy. So now onwards, when you get the entire grasp of it, now you keep on just adding on stuff and you kind of keep on layering down, and you're doing all the way you're looking for. The important asset and a tip for you, that the more you're gonna experiment, the more you're gonna get your kind of pattern, because drum is something which is very natural and is very common in nature, because the same pattern has been used in many tracks. So it is not mandatory for you to make yourself stand out anywhere. It's rather you're gonna make that particular beat completely justified to your music. That is very important. Now, if I have a mindset in my entire virtual mind that to make something house, then of course I know what is a house music, and I must understand the religion and the entire culture of it. That is when I can make the track justified and the viewers will enjoy it, or else I'm gonna end up doing something else. So that is why it's very important what is the subgenres and genre. Then it's always in very important to understand the genre. So that way you, again, the another thing, that the practice which you generally do, that you keep on listening music. The more you listen, the more you get practice of it. Now adding on one more track as a bass line, for example, and here I'm adding a track. I don't need to add a track because track is already created. So I'm going to browse this time, because I'm working on my MIDI second channel, but you can see there are two channels which is audio. If you really don't want them, how to delete this from push? Delete it like this way. There's a delete button here, and delete it if you really don't want it. I don't know why it's okay. Anyways, MIDI browse, gonna get uh, a bass track. Probably I want to create a bass line to it, so I'm gonna go to analog, and I'm gonna audition one by after another. So this is what the sound which I'm auditioning now. You can see right now, this is what the sound I have inserted. This is the instrument I have inserted right now, and you can see right now there are some couple of features where you can edit and you do your sound designing real time then and there on the push. Rather, now look at my screen. You go to the device and you do everything on your device section, and this is nothing but the analog. So real time performance, always you want to see some quick editing or quick designing parameters already loaded on your go, where these are all macro controls which you can see it, and this is nothing but the same macro controls. You can see from the top, filter cutoff on your push screen, and please look at the both the screen right now. The filter cutoff, the filter resonance, drive, chorus, the same thing, which is go one after another. So rather, I'm gonna see my screen. I'm gonna just do only one thing right now. I'm gonna play something first, then I'm going to start designing my sound as per my requirement. Now, till then we just saw and we just heard about the drums and the pattern and the drum rack and how exactly it is there in the push, how exactly you need to accentuate your ideas and you need to play it. But now when it is all about tonal instruments like this, bass, or let's say piano, violin, or any kind of tonal instrument which you deals with, this is how you see a view of your all the pads. All right, and I hope you can see properly or not, but this is glowing little orange color on each sections, and these are called, if you really understand what do you mean by octave, this is nothing but the intervals. So if I just play this, and by default the entire launchpad it is in the mode of C major. Alright, now if I'm just gonna hit this, then if I play the next one, this is exactly the way how you go with your keyboard or any MIDI controller with the natural notes. Alright, that's how it is all about. Now if I'm not wrong, if I'm a person who wants to accentuate my ideas in terms of bass line, now I'm not getting my octaves properly, because if I go like this way, or either way you can go, either you are okay with this flow, or probably you can go with the every 3 pads up above as a sandwich. When I say this, it's nothing but 1 2 3, then you reach to the next note, 4 natural note, 5 6 7, then the interval comes in. If I play the interval, all my equivalent intervals positioning are glowing. You can see right now it is glowing green. So the same note you can also play here, or the same note you can play also here. That is what it means. That's the basic understanding. So it's very easy right now. If I want to form a chord, so I'm doing in that way because I understand this is a C major by default, and it goes like either left to the right or left to the third pad, and again it go to the second, left to the third, and it goes on, keep on going up till the up position. Now then, how I can change the octave? This is how the octave button, which you can see over here right now. Let me change my yeah. This is a 2 which deals with your octave changers, and if I just change down, you go to the bass. The more you go down, the more lower octaves you get in. If you keep on going up, which is nothing but in any MIDI controller, you see the octave changers as octave. And apparently I have a Arturia Mini Lab, and this is how it is exactly changing the octave. You generally deals with that, and any MIDI controller has it. So now I want to play some bass line to it, so that's my actual octave, and you can see right now when you change the octave, something is flashing on your display. This is what it is exactly showing you, that what octave you are in. Alright, so you can see right now C1 to C5 you are in. That means C1 all the way C5. That is how you need to understand. If I go down C0 to C4, every octave it's degrading, and every time when you go down octave, it's degrading to 1 octave down. So C minus 1 to C3. So now I'm not at all a good player that I can just play. Why? Because in a Zoom I'm unable to establish my playing over here right now. So how I can do is now another second step and another way around that, how you exactly can play something without even recording your pattern. Or rather, I would represent in this way, that you can capture your performances. For example, let's say this is what the beat going on. I want to play something C, D, E, F, G, A. On A, I want to play something. I want to go like this way. Alright, so what I can do is, there is an option to capture a recording in Ableton, which is nothing but in your screen that you do it. Over here, you see the same option here, capture recording. Now, since my BPM was too fast, that is why I'm gonna decrease it. Okay. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to delete it, whatever I recorded. Or the same thing which you could do on your push, that is coming to the track, go to the clip. If you can see right now, this is what I played already, delete it. So the clip is deleted. Now all I need to do is I'm gonna play something and I must capture whatever I performed while I'm auditioning. That is another way of recording your musicality, because what happens nowadays when we do something, we generally are into the flow and we kind of having to the, you know, we kind of like playing something and we keep on auditioning, we keep on trying, we keep on composing something in our mind, we want to accentuate it. By the meanwhile, when you come to the recording state, you completely forgotten those flow of the pattern. So why these all features are very important? Because of that. What if you would lose your flow? That is why that is called recording or capture recording. It's just like snapping your recording. You are immediately, temporarily, you're capturing your recording for the permanent way, where you put your musicality immediately there and there. So for example, I play this. So if I want to capture this, whatever I played, what I can do is, you can see your push screen and there is a recording button here, as I told you last time. The recording button I can hold and press and hold. So I'm pressing and hold, you see there is a new button will come in. So what happened, whatever I performed, it's captured in a temporary memory and immediately printed inside your clip, and you can see on your Ableton screen the same thing which I just played it. This is called capture recording, and in push you just have to hold your record button on and you immediately press the new. So generally what happens with this process, you kind of ending up doing whatever the pace you played it before. For example, the track was before it is on 120. Now since the bassline I played in a different intensity and a different pace or a speed, it captured that motion and it completely imprinted with the BPM value 123 all the way from 120. So that is when what you can do is, you always get a kind of a, I can undo this. So you can see my screen of your push. I can undo the pattern. I undo, as in I delete it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just play my drums. So this is what the things going on, 1 2 3 4, and I'm going to try to intend the same pace of playing it. So this is what an A note. I played a little faster. That's a very wrong thing which I did it. So again I'm going to listen to it and undo a bit, and I'm going to delete it first, sorry, and here I'm deleting the pattern, and now I'm going to play this. I'm going to hit the record button on and new. So you can see right now what has happened, my BPM all the way down to 104. So it's very hard to do it. That is why generally you perform and play. So this kind of idea you do it generally when you are composing in the initial stage, then you get into your, you know, pattern designing and productions and hardcore programming part of it. So what I could have done is to show you is, probably I'll do from the drum sections. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to delete my patterns which I've created, and this time let me just change my settings of my IO. Why? Because I'm unable to play real time. So gonna increase a bit volume, and I hope you can hear my drums when I'm gonna start playing it. So let's just check it out. So for this is one of beats, and I hope you can hear it. Roger, am I audible?
Yeah, Hitachi, everything's audible.
Perfect. So now check it out, my push, and let's say this is what my pattern, this is what I'm trying to go with, or probably something to show you interesting. I'm gonna go to hip hop. So for this I have several drum kits. I can keep on going on and going on, and if I just see some categories called hip hop, I can go to that section. I can show you some demonstration there. So keep on going, or I can just use this navigation. You can see that I can just use this navigation over here that is on the display. So that's another way which you could do it. So generally it guides you to navigate either left or right positions. So again I'm browsing. You can keep on going, and because there are a hell lot of kits which are there designed by Ableton, and where you can see there are dozy numbers of kits which you can see it. Okay, preview on. Let me just load this kit randomly. I'm just adding up and I'm trying to intend to play some kind of a hip hop beats. For that I can probably understand what is hip hop and what is the culture of it. Then over here on my push I can go to the notes, or probably I can just take off the browser and get into the clip, and over here and I can see that notes. All right, and I'm gonna audition my all the clips. All right, so I'm trying to establish my kind of pattern that I want to design. So probably dun, dun, dun. So not like this way, probably I can just so something like this way. So this is what I played, a chunk of beat which I played it right now. All I need to do is rather to keep on, or probably to redo the recording again by playing the record button on and everything. What I can do, the simplest format is turn on the record button on, keep on pressing this and hold the new. So sorted. You can see right now the clip has been captured, and whatever I played from the previous position, but it actually gave me the last couple of bars, and thus those last couple of bars are nothing but 4 bars I already have been gotten here. But there are also a couple of sections I can select. By this upper sections you can see right now MIDI clip, the loop on, the crop. You can see zoom, loop position, loop length, start offset. So I'm going to start with the zoom in, zoom out. So the same section I can zoom in, and I can see my MIDI positions and my numbers of elements are played apparently, and it captured and looped that particular section. So if I'm just gonna play, and you can see the BPM also already read by my Ableton 144. So if I just tap the tempo, let's say a metronome, it's just going off by because it captured those off positioning. But now you can see that the metronome is already synced. Conclusion, rather keep on recording something or having a sequence or pattern design already on the go, you're gonna play something as a musician and you are captured your entire particular scene that you wanted to go in. Then the last but not the least, normal recording pattern that you want to go, that is the same pattern I'm going to play. Let me delete this. So it's very simple. You're going to start metronome on, and now first step is when you compose something, the groove has to go with some BPM, some pace, and that we all generally know that. This is what my pace, 1 2 3 and 4. So I can tap this, so I can turn on my metronome which is blinking apparently. So my Ableton is ready to go with the recording. Just only thing is that I can just give a record button turn on immediately. So for that, all I'm going to do is first 1 2 3 and 4 record. And I'm looping it. So this is one pattern and this is one pattern which I have just recorded, and I just immediately do the same procedures of recording. One I real time recorded with tapping tempo, another one is capturing the scene. So that way you can accentuate your ideas, and you can see right now which is apparently going on like this way. And you can see the first sections of my drums is completely missing. Now all I need to do is I'm gonna positioning my positions of my loop that I want to set it, which I played previously with the real-time recording. So I can keep on playing button on, and I'm gonna check my entire region, because every time it is moving the region from left to the right. It is sounding little off. Why? Because you can see right now, if I'm gonna little make my camera closer, it shows up the bar and the beats and the division positions with a number. All I need to do is I'm gonna zoom in, and I'm gonna start cropping, or I'm gonna make my starting position offset on the go. So mostly, in this particular loop, which is glowing little green, and it starts from 711. That is nothing but the 7 bar, 1 beat, and 1 division. And all I need to do is, if I really wanted to have a precise sections to be my pattern, I need to keep on checking another pattern which I played it, because a longer pattern I kept on playing. So what's required right now is just a little bit of quantization. Either you can quantization on the sequencer, or you got a quantization option here. So if I just keep on pressing on, and what you get it, swing quantization to quantization amount, and there's another feature called record quantization. This you can active first, then you can start recording your stuff, or either you play something, then you can post quantize your entire pattern that you played in. Now what do you mean by quantization? All of us we know. So nothing but always there is a lag in the midis, and that is when you generally wanted to try to quantize the numbers of MIDI patterns. So sometimes human errors are always in there. So quantize swing amount, quantization to 1/16, because I know I'm going with the 4/4, and that's the 16 pattern. Either you can go to 1/8, which is nothing but the half of my 16 divisions. So precisely a MIDI notes is going to fall on one after another. When I say 16, it is exactly taking the right value of your current position of your pattern, that is 1/16. Of course, you're not playing anything triplet. Until unless you deal with something triplet, you can go to either any of the value triplet. So you can see right now 1/16 triplet. So now apparently let me just fix this 1/16, and you can see the quantization amount is full. I believe always quantization to be less applied, rather more applied or full applied. Why? Because the more it is applied, the more it is going to affect your beat patterns, until unless you need something kind of a natural beat patterns to go. For example, you have a trap beats, or you have a drum pattern or acoustic drums. Generally a drummer, when he plays, he never plays everything mechanical. It's always been little loose in time. So that is when you require that, as that's the intention of a entire pattern. That way you can make your quantization to either 50% or any of the values. You can you can keep on adding it, and you're going to keep on listening. So for this, now let me just share my screen, my Ableton screen. Why? Because of course I'm going to show you everything with the sequencer design, rather showing something play. Now you're going to precisely listen what exactly it's going on. Quantization full. So little offside which is happening. Why? Because my positioning of my loop length. That is why it is always been better for you if you are not a live performer, and this is a workshop for mostly those who are not a performer, not producing by themselves. I can delete this. I'm gonna design one more time, and for this I'm gonna use my sequencer pattern. You can see your another screen for the push, and here you can see right now my sequencer design. So I'm getting the kick first and taking it out, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna just design one of my sequencer pattern with the step beats. So alright, now I don't want this another pattern to go on, so take it off. So just my first bar, I need to design my pattern. For that, I'm already set to that, and I'm gonna design precisely first my kick, one after another you're gonna add on. So, and along with the metronome on, you are getting to know the sense of your pattern design. So here you want the snare tap to tap. Alright, so I'm gonna go to the snare. Where's my snare? Okay, this one. Alright, this one is selected now. When I select this, now my sequences is completely changed to that particular snare, and I'm gonna apply my sequencer pattern for the snare. So where exactly my position for the snare is this one. If your velocity is more for this particular pattern, then what you can do is you can take it off, you can just slowly press it. It's a little reduced. Let's say I want to add on, keep on adding on stuff. So I'm not going to speak anything, I'm going to keep on adding the same process. Hi-hats. Now here is the thing. I really want I want something kind of the snare to go with more time divisions. Apparently this is apparently the view of 1 by 16, which I am exactly going on with, but I want my hi-hats to go 32th value. So that is when you can change 32th value to like this, and that is how you can just program or you can sequence your hi-hats. But if I just go to my kick, and you can see everything is 32th value apparently. So if I just play this, and if I'm gonna go to hi-hats, I'm gonna redesign again my pattern for the hi-hats. So hope you are getting the grasp. Adding on more elements. So let me just add on this on every 16 beat on the snare orals, because this sounds good. So probably so these are all the sample sound already been sampled in your drum rack. That is what is all about the elements designed by the developers. So I'm gonna go like this way. Dum dum. Something like this stuff. So again the zoom. So I'm gonna do what? I'm gonna first design this, then secondary, the third one, the last one comes in with this note. So I want to go every time is like this. So with this pattern, how I'm gonna go? So select the one, and I need to focus on my sequencers, my step sequencers, that where I can add on this first note and the second note one after another. Probably somewhere here, because I'm kind of completely arbitrarily thinking of that either this or this. I'm not at all in the music theory process. Sounds good. Sounds good. Now apparently happening the way I'm looking for. I missed the position. I little pre-played before the actual position to fall in, so that is not the position. This is the position. So there you go. Check it out. Take it off the metronome. Let's say you want this to go just one time. That is when you require a longer pattern to design. That is when this particular time grids, or mostly the bar values, helps you out to create a longer pattern. Let's say this is just one bar which is going on, and as I know that my track apparently which is going with the BPM 16.9 along with 4x4 time signatures. So one cell or one clip or one particular cells carries 4 division, 4 beats. My bad, 4 beats. Now I'm gonna go to the second one, gonna add the same pattern, or I can do another way, duplicate it. Alright, or I can just make it double loop. So duplicate and double loop, here is there is 2 features in push, where mostly duplicate is nothing but creating another cells. So if I just click on this, you can just focus on your Ableton screen now what is happening. So you can see it's created another one. Let me just do one more time. Just focus both the screen, duplicating, so it's created another one. So it's keep on duplicating, and you can see right now, double click on this, these are the patterns which I've designed. But another way around to make it the pattern longer with, let's say, 8x4. So the same pattern I can make it double loop. This is a button which helps you out to do that. So double loop, which I'm going to do it. So deleting this all. Now this is what my loop. What I can do is I can just click on this. See, on the Ableton screen, it's double the loop. It's total now 2 bars. And if I get into my MIDI, apparently, this is what has become 2 bars, which you can see it on your note section. Give me a minute. Okay, undoing again everything. Alright. So this is what is going on. Double the loop. So what is happening in between these two, there's nothing called the bar values. It shows up here. So now the second bar, I don't want it. And you can preview them one after another, and you can see on the screen that it's one after another coming in preview values. So the first preview value is, the first bar value is this one, the second bar value is this one. And in this section, I want to take off that tonality, that particular synthesizer sounds which is coming in. So for that, I need to get into the first and take it off, the second, take it off. So we are sorted. Now I got another longer of a loop which is apparently going on for the 8 bar, 2 bars, which is nothing but 8 beats. So first 4 beats and second 4 beats together, 8x4, and together it says 2 bars. This is what is all about things going on, and you keep on making your music process real time. And this is the entire whole of a bunch which I just told you. Apparently, by breaking my entire points in a kind of a deconstruction way. But if I'm gonna start working on as a solo person, I'm gonna keep on adding my stuffs, keep on adding my elements changed, and keep on previewing my elements, and I want to change my mind and I want to add something else on it. Then and the basic things which you need to do is called mix, a real-time mixing, which we generally need it as a live performer. So this is what is going on, and I'm gonna get an instrument for this, and for this to do, I'm gonna get to any of the instrument. I can audition my sounds. Probably need to make my track properly on the go. So for that, I'm gonna get the note. So every time what you do, you go to the notes, you go to the track, you notes, and these are the numbers of notes has been designed over here right now. And you can focus on my push screen. Change the octave. See, every time I'm changing the octave, what is happening? And you get the sequencer pattern here. see one of the key which is playing apparently. So you can choose which key you want to play. Take it off this key apparently. Okay, I'm on the zoom. Perfect. So just these two notes I want to play. There you go. So choose this first, and I'm keep on going with the drums. Somewhere here my first note, and somewhere here my second note comes in. This is how I'm focusing on my. Wrong position, so keep on changing. No. Which note? The second note. And you change it. Want to add on something? And you can play something in the real time also. I can change this particular sound to something else. Let's check it out with this. Sounds good though. So these are the basic things of the workflow which you do it, and you keep on changing. And what you can do more is go to the device. So there is another, you can see my screen, there's another button called device, and what the device lets you do, you keep on oscillating, filtering, you do something, and you kind of taking all those stuff which is associated with that particular device. And here is the device's wavetable, and you can see it's written here wavetable, and over here what you see is the oscillator, the table, the positions, and everything. Some of the important parameters are already macro mapped. That is what is all about. So now I can do what? I can just change my oscillator position while keep on playing the music and the groove, and I'm gonna keep on synthesizing my sound real time. And I'm changing the weight. I'm change to table. So now I want to solo my bass because I want to focus on my bass. So there's a solo button, solo it, and your bass is going to be audition. And you're gonna keep on the position, design, filter types, frequency, and resonance, and so on and so forth. So that is how you do the basic workflow. But now I would like to show you something else in terms of performances, like real-time performances, where I'm just gonna create a new live set, for example. And now I want to go with some kind of a house music which is very energetic apparently to demonstrate right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, let me just get you a proper hardcore house kick and house snare and stuff like that. And I'm keep on auditioning, keep on going back and check. Where also one more thing I would like to say, in Ableton you get the packs. The packs is completely comprising of or consisting of numbers of other developers with already contributed their beat patterns along with the sound design through using the same instruments which you get it in Ableton. That is all the analog collision, drum rack. You can see on my screen always both the screens. Utilizing those instruments, they have designed their own kind of sounds. So instantly you can use those sounds for your music. So there is a vinyl classic. If I just go to get into that, and if I just check one after another, then every time these encoders go with the flow with the same categories of columns. Alright. like that, and so on you can go. So couple of things which you do sometimes out of the box, rather you by yourself design something, you do by yourself when you want to do something. Is push good for live performance? Yes, of course. Can you also explain song structures and what would be an ideal structure for a hip hop rap song? See, again, this is depends on. I wouldn't say the the pattern of and the structure. Basically, when we deals with this music, you deals with different structures. It's not always been the same structure which you deals with. If you really consider 80s and 70s, like Snoop Dogg or Dr. Dre or now Drake, now of course Eminem and all, whatever, whoever you listen to, or even Khalifa and all that, how the things were happened before and how the things now happening, there's a drastic change in the entire culture of hip hop. Now if I would say Eminem, I don't want to say because it's a workshop going on when I definitely can't say the name, but if you just take any X name and if you see the hip hop style of the genre they make it, the sub genre of the hip hop they make it, versus if you go to the old school is always in the same structure, the same dryness of the effect comes in with the same kind of a pattern generally comes in because that's the culture it tells about. But now things become more commercial, things become more approachable in a different manner, and it's not only hip hop, it's every genre become different right nowadays. But yes, when we say the authentic genre and genres, it's always in the elements, number one. Number two, generally what happens is the kind of rise or fall you make it, if it is electronic music or EDM. And if precisely you're asking for the rap or the hip hop is again, a culture is all about more of only couple of elements and the structure of the beat pattern, which is the backbone of the culture, hip hop. Because on the top of that, sometimes music and the rap comes in. So that way, in hip hop culture, the elements are very important. When I say elements, these are the sounds. Could be kick, could be pattern also, could be the elements in terms of you're using some kind of a different designing sound, or you design of your own kind of a kick. Because mostly hip hop kick was always in general in back in old school days, but now there's different kick which you design it, you generally use it. For example, if I would go um, to my one of the drum rack, you can see my screen. I'm just taking a general kick. This one. This is not even a hip hop kick, which I'm listening apparently. But can I make a pattern out of it? You can make a pattern out of it, but is it going to sound like a hip hop? Because the pattern is not exactly matching to the culture. So if this is what the kick. So let me just go a little real time if I can play something, or probably it's better because I'm okay with playing a lot, because that way I can clear the pattern faster. So for that way I'm gonna change my settings a bit. Give me a minute. Alright, this is how this goes like. Doesn't sound that great. Why? Because even though I'm playing the hip hop pattern, but now the elements is not switching at all. The kick is not that evident on the way I'm looking for. That is why mostly the culture tells about more of sounds which you deals with, and again the kind of a stylish structure which you generally make it in the form, that is what is the starting intro, what is the chorus has to go, and what is the verse has to end with or outro has to end with. And because it's completely full of rap, so sometimes you just the beat goes like, so this is completely not like hip hop. So probably if I reduce down the BPM, I'm kind of trying to make it triplet, or kind of making the hi-hats to be on the more go with more increased numbers on the grid values. When I say grid values, the kick is going on the 4x4. If I add on the snare, so both are following the same kind of a pattern of the grid values, but only the hi-hats going a little faster. It's a very basic pattern of. And when you reach the triplet values, that is when the hip hop kind of feel comes in, and you enjoy that as a hip hop. You don't enjoy it as in some other genre. That is one important element. And again I would say one thing, that it's not only the beats also, but the instrument which you deals with. And when I say hip hop, it's all about the bass. It's all about any kind of a tonality which you add on, could be any tonality, any instrument, but it has to sound very intense, very dark, very chill, and so on and so forth. Because if I just make a house BPM over here right now, but yes, I can make a house track out of it. But do you really intend to make something out of hip hop? Then you need to change the element, then you need to start preparing. So those are the basic things which you deals with. I hope you got your answer. Anything else? If you can guys have the questions, you can ask me. But meanwhile, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change my output. Cool. So here on the first clip, and you can focus on my push. Now I'm on the drum rack of my Ableton, and this is what the 608, 606, and 606 carries some of the parameters control. And this is the same parameter controls called squash or filter, and all those parameters are coinciding with the device. This is called simpler. And in the simpler, there are a couple of options which you deals with, where not only the simpler but also there are many more other devices. Like if I just open this, you can see some other elements are in it. So if I just go to the kick, and if I go to the snare, if I go to the any other snares, you keep on seeing some other devices are included in the drum rack. Now drum rack is a whole of another concept, but if I just get into it, when I press the kick, you see the parameter controls on the device section, and what you see is all about the samples in it. You can see on your screen this is an audio file, this is an audio clip, and I don't have to see my computer right now. I'm just gonna see on my push. I can do the starting point, ending point set. Let's say I want to start my snare at this point. I want that softness. So what I did is I completely chucked out this portion. I wanted to retain my rest half portions, and this is what my sound's gonna be sounds like. So what I did, I kind of resynthesized or resampled it. Sounds like a hi-hat. Or if I just wanted to start my position, I'm gonna start a little more hardness. So you can see the intensity of the audio goes more and more and more. That is how you understand the entire workflow here. You see the fade in, fade out, and when I say the fade in, fade out, this is exactly the way how you do a fade in, fade out track. So apparently I'm dealing with one single clip of my audio, and over here what I'm doing is when I'm gonna hit the play button, you'll see there's a smoothness on the attack point. I'm kind of trying to play because of the zoom, it is lagging again. I'm gonna keep on telling the same thing. So the same snare, I change the sound into something else, like a brush kit, and so on and so forth. I can do that. Whatever the simpler device carries in here, all the settings on your computer screen, you could see it. That is my Ableton screen. Same settings and everything which you could see on your push to display button. And over here, what I'm trying to do is I can also do the tonality change in terms of pitch. Kind of tuning in, tuning out, gaining and gaining down, and the mode of my sampler. So sampler generally comes with 3 modes: slice, one shot, classic. This is by default generally in every sampler whenever you deals with. And where the classic is all about your simple way of playing your sampling sound. But if I deals with slicing and one shot is nothing but just one click, whether you take off your hands, your fingers from your note, no matter what, but it completes the entire duration of the sound, then it ends. That's what is all about one shot. But if I get into a classic mode, you kind of getting away from those kind of a feature. So when I just go to the classic, and when I go to the one shot, no matter what, it completes the entire duration. And this particular demonstration you can easily get to know if you have a tonality instrument. So anyways, you can just move in between, and slicing is something you wanted to map it automatically on your all the push. So for example, I want to slice this. For that I need to have another simpler. For that I'm going to do what? In this third MIDI track, I'm going to add I'm going to browse my instrument simpler. Okay, I'm just loading this simple simpler. Apparently there is nothing here. It's just a simple simpler. You can see on your on my Ableton screen as well, there is nothing here. So press browser to load a sample, it says. So what I can do, I can browse it, and it says you can press browse and load the sample. So I can go to any of my sample sounds collections, and I can go and drag and drop. Okay, that's how you can do it. So over here, if I just get into here, and if I just give me a minute. Let's say I'm getting the packs. There are some samples in it. Load. So take it off. So this is what exactly the sound has been loaded up, and you can see I didn't even see the screen of my computer, but I just loaded this guitar sound, and now what I can do from this point is I can just do my sampling techniques, that is chopping some beginning position with the numbers of samples or ending up with some numbers of samples. You can see starting percentage in terms of grid values, which you see it, and what you can do is you can do more, that is the length, basically the sample length which you need to decide it. It depends on your total point of your, you know, sample sound which you wanted to sample it. So what I'm doing right now is I'm setting up my offset 27%, but the starting position is anyways is the zero crossing point, which is nothing from the top, and over here I'm kind of creating the slope. So only this sound which is playing, apparently I don't want that, so all I need to do is setting up my previous position, and I wanted intentionally, I want this kind of sound, so you can just do that. There is another navigator where it goes on to the left and the right. Alright, that is how you can just change your track, and many more other stuff which you could do it. So if I just play my drum, my basic pattern which I have designed right now, or I haven't designed, so let me just design quickly one groove out of it. Let me just set my tempo to, let's say 124, and let me just positioning my kick position. Apparently there are 2 bars apparently activated, so let me just set it to 1 bar. So double tap on the first pad, and keep on auditioning some other elements. So this one I'm gonna add on. So I can just do like this way, how I want it. I want the snare to go, both the snare to go together like this way. Gives that intensity. So all I need to do is click on this, and with the same another snare with the same position, because they need to coincide at the same point. Keep on adding on one more intensity to the kick, so I can check it out, is there any other kick available in my drum rack. So there's one more kick is available. There are 2 kicks, one is completely short and the one is a longer one. I can actually add on at one particular point, because every time the longer sound of the kick gives you more of hum effect. So probably at the last pattern of my kick, so clicking on this, what more I can add up. So probably like this way. And probably the last kick I can take it off because it's sounding more aggressive. So the last position of my first kick can take it off. And the same guitar chop I want to play. So probably I need to do some kind of a settings to my guitar because there are many things which is going on it. That is gain which is not there. The gain, little bit of gain, I can increase it. So instantly I'm giving it. So I want to let it go like this way, like an arpeggiator stuff. So either you can play with the MIDI notes with increasing the numbers of steps here, number one, or you can actually have an arpeggiator in it as in MIDI effects. So let me do the first one quickly. So getting to my second track, and over here I want to go, my arpeggiator sounds like, alright, like this way. So all I need to do is I need to go each of this and I need to program it. So what I can do is first over here, also one more thing I can do it. Over here you can see I've gotten my step sequencer. Alright, so one by one I can just program one after another. So what you are seeing right now is every time when each note when I press it, it is updating with the sequencer pattern. Apparently these are only 32 steps or 32 or 2 bars of a sequencing pattern which I have designed already, but each time for each note you need to update it to the sequencer so that it will recognize that note. So apparently I'm on this one now, the third one, this one is my note, and for that I need to press this, then I need to go to the position that I want to put it for that note. Then the last but not the least, click that, and only thing is the pattern going on with a little same speed. I want to make it so what exactly it deals with, it is all about double the tempo. Rather doubling the tempo, I can increase the time grade value, which is the denominator part of the time signatures. So for that you see on the right sections, and you can see on your push on the right sections where apparently I'm present on 1/16th grid values. Increase this to 32. What is happening, you can see there's some changeovers happening. So it is representing you the same positions only, but numbers of steps more, by because it is 32 numbers of steps you have increased it. So in that way I need to keep on adding. I'm gonna do this entire pattern design one more time by getting to 32 steps. First again the first tone, then the second tone, then the third, and so what I did is each of this particular node I have put the position for all of them individually respectively. So now check it out, what is going to happen. It is happening, I just need one more layer. So the same thing I can just do it, either you can do that or you can just double the loop. So you can see right now, just that one more time, it is need to be get done. So again, sorry, then, and I just need so there are many more other patterns has been designed. For that I need to just do a particular clip editing. Rather I'm getting into all the sections here, I can just do the same particular one bar to go as my arpeggiator. So you can see right now I have played this I have actually sequenced this two sections. Again at the end exactly I played something, it captured automatically, it's looped over here right now. I just don't want this entire sections to be looped. All I need to do is change the length. So what you can see, I'm just changing the length and I'm positioning precisely that I want to start with. So my starting position is from the top, and now all I need to do is the length I need to crop. I want only this much to go. Alright, check it out. Probably I can even crop more. So what you're seeing right now, apparently I'm kind of trying to make my reason completely filled with the numbers of notes which I played it. If you want to add on more, the same thing which you can do it, and you can see right now one by one the notes are adding on the same thing. So this is like a hell lot of a tedious process. Rather, you get a arpeggiators, which you generally do, and MIDI effects always helps you out in that way. So so 1, 2, 3, go. Let me take off the hi-hats. One more thing, in this guitar I want to add on some instant reverb. So Ableton gives you always a particular reverb plugin by default on in then and there when you launch a new set. So you can see my screen, there is a reverb already there, which is called the A auxiliary and the B auxiliary as a delay, where there's a delay plugin over there in the down section. So you can see both the things together. So the same thing which you see on your push, A reverb, B delay. If you get into a device, you see the device parameters control, go to B to delay, then delay parameters and their controls. How do you control? With these encoders which are present apparently. Alright, so now my only point is to give the sense. So how do you do in the push to? Generally you don't perform, but also sometimes you do some kind of a mixing on the go, on the fly. So that way all I need to do is go to the mix window. You can see right now the same tracks, numbers of tracks. That is my first track, the second track, then there are two audio tracks, and along with my reverbs and delay, and this vertical direction, these are all the meters. Along with that, what you see, it's all about the levels are apparently set. So I want to give the sense to my guitar. All I need to do is, there are A sense and B sense. All I need to do is I have to select. So upper section there are buttons here, select that. Apparently you are in the second track, and right now you want to send some amount of the reverbs. So there you go, A sense is all set. All I need to do is increase my intensity of my sense, or the amount of auxiliaries which I am setting up right now. Alright, there you go, just one more time. Give me a minute. All right. So I guess there must be some settings which I need to check. Apparently I'm giving from this track. That shouldn't be happen. So anyways, again, let me do this. Sorry, my bad. I was on the wrong track. So that was a glitch. I'm so sorry. My bad. So what was happening is the same track with A sense. That's what the amount which you see here. And I want to go for the B sense. So apparently these buttons are nothing but it is previewing you that what area you wanted to give the amount in terms of A sense and B sense. Apparently A sense is nothing but the reverb, B sense is nothing but the delay. So select the track, and all you need to do is increase the amount here. So whenever you select this A sense applies to all the tracks. Whenever you go to the B sense, this B sense is applied to all the track. It is updating the view in terms of intensity or auxiliary amount that you want to give it. That is nothing but the aux amount which you want to give it. So over here, what I'm trying to do is now here in this particular guitar, I'm kind of trying to give the delay over here. The kick is sounding more aggressively, so all I need to do is go to device, and here in this kick I can just probably cut off something and I can cut it off. So for this to do, I have this end options that I can cut it off. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to chop off my entire length of the kick, which is apparently prolonged like anything, and it's giving me a feel of the hum effect, which I really don't want that. And I can fade out also a bit if I really wanted to. All I'm all set. Now I want to add on one more thing, that is my snare, which is nothing but I want to have the positions of my snare to go like that way. That way I'm gonna go to my clip and I'm gonna check which snare I want to add up. Okay, go to device. Okay, that was exactly the snare which I was operating that time, so done. So let's have this pattern first as simple kick going on, and let me just have another pattern of the drums by duplicating it. As I told you that duplicating duplicates your pattern. So you can see right now the same guitar pattern and the drums pattern has been copied and pasted to the down clip, which is the second clip grids. And now all I'm gonna do is on this particular one I'm gonna add on a snare to it. So let me just layer some more sounds. This one I want at the last position. So updating this clip that I want to sequence. Now what is happening is it's kind of giving you that kind of groove which you want to looking for in terms of having the short clip of the kick, that is first 3 kick, and the little longer clip of the kick which is going on little longer in terms of 808. Let's make some more interesting sound out of it. So adding a track and MIDI quickly, let me just design a bass sound out of it. So just going to a quick pre-designed bass sound that is going to be suitable for this. I would rather go with my favorite called Analog, and give me a minute. Okay, add a track, MIDI, and instruments, then analog. So analog is one of the device which is as I told you, mostly it is the vintage or old school sounds like a synthesizer. Why? Because they are completely designed in such a way that mostly the most famous Moog sounds which you can design, and which is like imitating the same kind of a sound which you could create it by your own. It is very fatty and it's very smoother in terms of sound. That is why the circuitry design is completely the same as all the old school synthesizer designed with. So it's very pretty simple. So all I need to do is go to the bass and go to bass. So let me just do darker thing this particular sample, and just that I want to figure it out now. My groove is exactly on the different pitch. I need to kind of find out the pitch right now. This is mostly the essential part when most of our producers, they don't have the sense, or sometimes what they struggle to find out the right pitch. See, music production is all about sense of the rhythms and the pitch sense. So mostly you deal with these two factors, rhythm and pitch. So now when you design something, you must know which scale you are in. So I'm not able to find out the right key. I'm on the C major by default. That is why Ableton gives you, the push gives you a scale quantization option. Over here you can see for the tonality, you do not get this scale quantization in drums. It's just for the tonality instrument, like more of instruments generally deals with bass or anything as such. So apparently I'm dealing with the bass. Get into the scale, and the scale which gives you up section is all about your keys, starting from C, G, D, A, E, B, which is nothing but your, you deals with your all the notes. That is 12 notes which you deals with. Over here C, C, G, all the notes, F, B flat, E flat. So if you want to go, let's say if this is what going on with na 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 na, apparently you are in C, and let me just keep on playing on the C note. I'm not at all falling. Let me just go to the G note. So what is happening, it is scaling down to the root key of that particular root key and the number of collections of keys with major, minor, Dorian, Mixolydian, and all those numbers of scales are present in the world, where you deals also with Indian Raga Bhairav also. So you can see right now it's written called Bhairav. So it's exactly going on the G root with Bhairav notes. Bhairav is all about. But I want to go, this is something minorish going on. My present groove is going little minorish. So all I need to do is, I need to keep on rotating on the left side, or I can just use this keys. There you go, minor. It's not matching, so I need to keep on searching. That's the pitch. So I'm keep on sensing this, and I keep on trying with A now. Okay, F. Keep on searching, keep on trying all the keys. I got it. Alright. So my entire groove is on G flat. That is how I need to figure it out. So sensing the pitch is that important, because as a musician always we need to have that basic understanding of what scale we are working on. This is exactly natural minor. If I go to let's say something pentatonic, which is blues, check it out. So like that you can go major pentatonic, but it's on the G flat scale. So that is how you deals with. So my position is C minor. So sorry, it's minor. So it's G flat minor. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start recording this, or rather I can sequence on this pattern. what is going on apparently, because the step was before 32, I really don't want that patterns to go. So all I need to do is take it off, go to 16 because I want to go every 16 beats. So or you can change this entire thing. You can go 1/8 value. So just only one thing you needed, that is called side chaining. Now side chaining in Ableton is very easy, where I'll show you through this through my Ableton screen. You can see on your on my Ableton screen right now. What is a sidechain? It's all about compressing or ducking a signal with equal interval of time of something going on as a pattern, and which is the equal interval pattern which generally goes on our music called kick always goes on the time when you deal with this kind of a genre of music. So that way sidechaining is going to be more effective in terms of musicality. So in that way all I need to do is get into a compressors
Yeah, Hitansha, I'm
and
sorry to interrupt. I
yeah,
think you might have to stop sharing your second cam, which is the push, and share your Ableton screen.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
And probably it's not sharing a what. Okay, give me a minute. Hope the
All
Ableton
good now.
screen. Thanks. I don't know, I did that, but yeah. Is there any way to load a sample into the sampler through the push? Yes, always. I just loaded up that actually to this guitar, which is apparently going on as the groove. Taking it off my. So I muted my. This is what you can mute your channel. The guitar, which you see right now, I've loaded up. I just showed a little bit way before. I hope I guess you missed out. So now let me just sidechain my bass here, and all I need to do is getting a general compressors, and this is what your audio effects is of your Ableton. And generally you get a compressors, like variety of compressors here, where one of your general compressor or the compression work you do with this compressor. All you need to just drag in dropping to your track that you want to sidechain. And compressor is the ball game of master and slave. So master is generally the one which needs to be compressed as a equal pulses of sound. When it's a equal pulses of sound, which kind of element which you deals with, that is kick. So here in this element, kick is the one, and over here all I need to do is I'm gonna drag my compressor, which I need to sidechain, and which I wanted to make it as little more pulsive way and more rhythmatic way, and this is what my bass. So let me just rename them. Right click. So here in the compressor you can see on my device sections, and you see the sidechain options once you expand it, this options. So once you turn on the sidechain and you activate it, you need to get that element which you wanted to make it sidechain through. So which is the one? Kick. So my first chooser, let me choose the channel I wanted to select, and which is the channel is the drum is the channel which I want to sidechain through. So my first 606 kit is my first channel, which is nothing but the kick which is carrying inside it. The second chooser, let me choose which element you want to sidechain through, because since it is a drum rack, you can see there is a kick, there is a snare. So each of this, they act as individual channel. So all I need to do is go to the second chooser, and every time you see three kind of settings in sidechaining, that is pre, post and post mixer. All these things probably you can read the manual, you can get to know, because this is not the right time to show you, where I can just show you something in terms of post and pre, where we know that pre is something before the fader, post is after the fader. So I want my kick to completely process through its all processors inside in the group. Then it should come to the bass compressor. That is when I've chosen purposely post. But I need to go to the kick that I wanted to sidechain through. So which is the kick? I need to figure it out. Alright, so it's very simple. You can see right now the first kick, which is coincide with the position of your pad of your drum track, the same kick 606. The name itself tells all this. So there are two kicks which I have exactly programmed here, this and over here this one, wherever I'm highlighting it. So all these two I can just make it as one channel to my bass. So all I need to do is, it's very simple, the first kick and the post, select it, Now, compression and the side chaining is one of the very old school ball game which they do it kind of a sharing of equal amount of volume comes in and come out, or probably the kick says that I'm in and you need to stop, or you need to shout, you have to completely decrease your mouth, or you have to completely slow it down. Once I'm going out, then you need to raise your volume. That is what is exactly the threshold which lets you do that job. Okay, so now all I need to do is I'm gonna also set some ratio amount, because this is what exactly decides the amount of compression happening through the kick and the amount of ducking in ducking out happening to the bass channel. And apparently this is what my bass, where one by one I'm going to start trying it out, and I'm going to check where we know that attack and release what does the work it does, the how faster the compression is going to act on your channel, on your signal, and how fast the compression is releasing out. So once I'm sort with all this, then all I need to do is I need to work out on my threshold precisely, because threshold is the parameter which does all your job. Now, since because of the ratio amount is very much, I need to give a very less ratio amount, because I don't want to have that kind of a hard compression, but rather I can just give a threshold. The only thing is the pattern which is kind of going on not that great, so what I can do, I can just double click on my clip editor, I can just copy and paste it. Command R, which is Command D is the duplicating stuff, so Command D is the key where you can just copy and paste it double times, or you can just use in your sampler on your notes that it's actually has the same option in the push to double the loop. I'm not liking this way of bass is going on, so that is why I've chosen 1/16th note, because 8th is completely comprising of two values, but 16 is 1 values of divisions. So that way what you can do is you can exactly do the same thing, clipping, taking it out, everything together. All I need to do is changing my values to 16, and here I can just do one after another, and you see on your media editor of my Ableton that it is the same thing happening down whatever I'm doing here. So you are precisely writing down just like how you're holding a mouse and cursor, the same thing which you do here. Now all I need to do is I'm gonna tweak in my knobs of my synthesizer, and I can just do many more other stuff in terms of controlling my, or probably resynthesizing my sound in a different manner. And this is what the two switchers and the inserts which you can see both together, one is your instrument and the one is the compressor which I have sidechained. So I need to switch on to that, and I'm gonna and do a basic mixing to it. So for that I need to turn on my mix again, and so conclusion here is right now I want to change my bass sound into something else which I want to make it a little more smoother. It's very exaggerating, it's very saturating, and also with the same bass what I can do, I can go to device, so what is happening in the group is the kick, both the kicks are very little weaker in nature, but the bass is overpowering, or the kick is retaining the same quality of it but the bass is overpowering. Like that way you can just do many more other stuff in terms of designing of the sound by getting to the bass sound. So in this particular instrument you do whatever you want to do it, Over here you see the filter cutoff, the filter resonance. I just need one more high element like that, like the way it is going on with the guitar. So what I can do, I can just browse one more, add track, MIDI track, and probably I can go to an instrument and probably, let's say, add some mallets or bell or something. So instantly, like, we are creating a groove quickly, which is gonna be my last topic of the day, where probably we can do more in the next workshop. So for that, I'm kind of getting to operator, which is one of the very uh, like one of the very sophisticated and one of the very I would say it is a combination of additive, extractive, FM synthesis together, which is an operator mostly meant for sound designing. But you can see some of the sounds in it, and if you find those kind of sound in your track for your track, then you can use them. So preview on.
Excuse me, Tanshu.
Yeah.
Your screen, the second cam needs to be shared again. Yeah, so we need to see
Yeah,
the
I'm so sorry.
No
Okay,
worries.
no problem, that's okay. um,
So there are a few questions also in. So once you're done adding this mallet, we'll take some questions before we
cool.
wind up.
Is it showing up the secondary screen, my push?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. A new share. I hope so it is now.
Yes, it is. Thanks.
Now anyways, we're not going to see the Ableton screen, so it's very simple now just to see on my push. So that sounds good for me. So I guess I need to work on my scale. uh, I need to check with my keys again. So I'm kind of trying to make something very melodic progressive house, like this way. And all I need to do is the same thing which I would do, getting to my sequencer pattern, and probably I'm just gonna use both the sections together. Alright, I got my note sections and I got my my step sequences, and all I need to do is change my octave. And this is what my melody. So those are my notes. One by one I'm gonna design, and where I must choose 32th. Why? Because I want my 32 divisions to work on. So the first note, then I'm gonna choose. So once I'm designed with this, either I can use this kind of step sequences to work on together, and where you can see my MIDI notes are falling in this way one after another, or let me just share my screen again with the Ableton, where I can just do what I can, or probably you can see on the push itself, going to my clip and cropping my length. It's one of the very cool features where you can do it, where always you do what, positioning at one particular bar and beats and division, and you're going to apply one MIDI effects to it. Alright, so that is how you can do it. So for example, now I want to add on again. Let me take off everything. So then the first position only I'm going to design one after another. So for that to do, I'm going to so the first note I'm going to implement, and I'm going to start designing. Alright, and so probably I'll just adjust my length. And now loop position, that is what I need to set up now. And there you go. So sometimes it's very hard where you need to find out, so zoom in and use, probably good to go with that. So each of this position you can set on the same grid. So I want my notes to go with the same grid. So you can see on my screen, I'm kind of nudging them and positioning them at the same point. I'm trying to do that. But what is happening is because of the values which I've set it as my grid values, which is not going at all. So that is a scene. But what I can do is I can probably do some other jobs to do in terms of nudging them together at one position. Okay. All right. So that is set. Now the second position, now let's say I want to make it something else. Something like this. So keep on pressing. So that's the note I need to program again. Now the next one, same position. Alright, that is how I'm set with one pattern right now. Now take it off everything now. Same thing, the same compressor, I can just drag and drop the one which I have exactly sidechain, and I want to drag and drop here, so you can just do that. So that's always in the best way to do sidechaining. Now I want to give some reverb to it, so there you go, you're adding all the reverb. Okay. So the last but not least, I want to just make it little cropping the length and loop positioning. So for that I need to decide that which area of the bars, and I can see right now the second division, it's exactly copied and pasted. So I'm just gonna do what, I'm gonna double loop. I hope so that's gonna be helping me out, and that way so since I have just looped it for the 1 second and one section, that is 2 beats, every time it is kind of copying and pasting to the second bar as the same numbers of divisions, that is 2 beats only. Then again third and the fourth, you can see on the entire sections one after another which is happening. And that's all about it. Goes and goes and goes and keep on adding and keep on. this last thing that I want to just record some vocals on it, just to give that very lush effects on my vocals, and to add on some vocals on the back. Then all you need to do is you need to work on your monitoring mode, which is Ableton gives you, and where you need to record on. Then let's say I am on my first channel, so what I can do is I can immediately change to my channel number. Check. It is not happening. Why? Because I'm on the Zoom. So let me just change it to SSL2 plus. That's my interface right now, and I'm sorted. So you can see my levels are coming in. I'm purposely not turning on my monitoring on. Why? Because I'm surrounded with monitors right now, which is turned on, so it will give me the feedback. Something I want to sing some vocals on that, and what I can do is I can start recording my vocals, and I'm just going to record on my clip, and where Ableton gives you a session views just like this, so that you can perform one after another. This is what exactly the thing which I supposed to tell you at the end for today's session. So I want to record my vocals track here, and what I can do is, rather going to the sections I want to record something by myself, go to the session here, and you can see the numbers of columns which is coinciding with my Ableton track, and the same channel numbers in the track along with the clip grids. So if I want to click on this, the first clip which is getting recorded, so you can see it is actually glowing up with the same track color right now. So let me record something over here right now. So what I can do is I can just start with the metronome and this much of chunk of audio which I want to make it on the back, and you can see right now the same clip view of the audio which I came in here, and I wanted to crop them into the position from where I wanted to. So apparently I'm on the 7.1.1, that is respectively the 7 bar, 1 beats and 1 divisions, and I need to just do the length setting precise, that is this much of length which I want to require to have in my music. So so there is already reverb added on, so all I need to do is go to the mix window, and then over here I'm sending my A sends over here, and sorry, not this one. And the best feature that you can work on your Ableton is either creating another auxiliary, and you can apply the same thing to your Ableton, but apparently I do not have the time to show you all that. So all I need to do is, let me just share my Ableton screen here quickly, and we are done for the day with the topics, all the topics. So hope you can see my Ableton screen right now, and here I'm trying to give my vocals with little lush effect, little more longer reverbs and little more tail to it, where generally we know that reverb has the parameter which we generally call as a decay time, or probably with the different names with different plugins which you get it. So here in this reverb plugin you get the decay time, and what about the so you can see the same reverb with the hall room, some kind of effects which you want to add it up, you can add it up over here right now, and I can just go and I can scroll, and I can see some patches already designed that I can load up with the load option. That is what is all about. The entire working feature is with the push to. There is lot to go. This is nothing exactly, I would say just the 1/4, but this is one of the instrument which you get it in front of you, where you program, you perform with the session view, you quantize your scale, you quantize your MIDI notes, you mix, you record yourself, you do sidechaining, you do the basic sound designing generally instantly. You generally want to have it with this music with the bass guitar. If I would show my Ableton screen again, my push to. What I'm trying to do is I'm kind of muting my drums and kind of trying to give that kind of a drop to it. And probably you can add on more tracks to give the build up, build up, build up, like something like this way. Mostly like more of number of kicks, number of snares, adding up and giving you that kind of rise to the entire music and getting into a different transition of your track. So all along overall, this is what exactly the topic which I want to share today, and I hope you enjoyed. And if you have some questions, please throw the questions. Probably I can answer right now.
There are a few questions that are coming, Hitanshu, through our personal chat from our students.
Okay.
So you demonstrate the push to really an amazing workshop to see the entire thing happen in live. Really
Thank you.
cool. So one question is, so why use the push to when you have other controllers around, like the Novation Launchpad and
Very good
things like that?
question. Yeah, I do agree where you have other controllers, but other controllers are not deeply integrated. This is a term which you need to understand. Or I generally say this to everyone that when you get a dedicated controller, for example, you know, for a TV there is a remote, there is a dedicated controller to it. You do not have to customize another remote to control your TV, right? So you get the same company, the same controller to it, so that you can change your channels, volumes, your whatever other works which you do it. Same goes for music production. When you deal with a dedicated controller, rather touching the mouse and keyboard, you can everything do with your all 10 fingertips, rather one mouse and one click. It is always been very tedious to work with the mouse and keyboard in terms of real-time performances, because mostly music production real-time performance is all about the notes which you are playing, the duration of it, the velocity of it, number one. Number two, something you get it as a controller which you generally don't get it on your mouse or on your keyboard, where instantly you can tweak it and you can get the values out of it and you can start making the music real time. So that is why you need a dedicated control which lets you give all the options on the go, on the fly, and you see them in the display, you start controlling them. Versus if I go with let's say M Audio Oxygen 49, it is not even a dedicated controller. So it is a manual control. When I say this, you manually do everything with Ableton, where Ableton has the MIDI control settings where you can just go and do it. And you go here and you turn on your MIDI, where that MIDI lets you map anything that you want, anything, literally anything that you want to map. For a dedicated controller in push, it gives you the scenes, the grid values, the grid look, and over here you just see the same thing on your push. If I just change my screen and you see the same thing, whatever you see in the computer screen as Ableton, and you see here the controller. If you get into a session views, you see the session views in terms of clip, which is nothing but on your Ableton screen. It's the same thing which you see it. For example, I want to start from this particular beat first. So rather, I'm touching my mouse and playing on my Ableton with the help of mouse and clicking on the first clip grid. Rather, I'm going to do that. I'm going to see the same particular sections here on my push, and all I need to do is the same thing. I'm starting with the kick and adding on elements which I've already programmed. That is my guitar sections, my bass, and my vocals which I've added up. So you can see something is blinking here, and this is apparently on my session view. Slowly getting in the bass into it. Let's say the arpeggiators. So 1, 2, 3, go. So that's how you do it individually, one after another, one clip. Where with the single help of the mouse, you can't play both the clips together, which is nothing but in Ableton, which you see as clip grid. That is why push to. That is why push is a dedicated controller. I would say this guy which is lying down here is it's very like vast in nature. You could do all those impossibilities, possibilities which you could generally can't do with any other controllers. Like if I would say after push to, if I would consider, then APC is the another controller from Akai is the company, which we generally can perform only, where also you can do some kind of a crossfading work, which generally Ableton gives you. If you can see my screen, this is a crossfade option. And here in the Akai APC is the model APC 40, which lets you do the crossfading in between both the tracks together, which are categorized to A and B. Mostly it is the work intent for DJing or real-time performances. So one channel carries some numbers of tracks, another channel carries some numbers of track, and you are categorizing them A and B, and you kind of do in between the A and B together, which generally in push you need to map it, you can't do it. But yes, APC 40, probably there is an option called A to B crossfading. Along with that, the same session views and with the clip grids and the scenes in push 2. If I just share my screen of my secondary camera, and you see my push, this is my session views, and you can see these are the numbers of slots are already programmed and recorded, and where this right sections which is glowing in terms of green, do not consider these are the time grid values. These are the scenes button. If I want to start this first row one at a time, is the first clip, which is the first clip, which is the second scene, and the third scene, and 4 scenes like that, and so on and so forth. You can make an entire song and the structure out of it by using this clip grids. That is why push to, and I hope you got the answer.
So according to what you're saying, Hitanshu, push to is not just an instrument that you can use to perform live. You can also use it for music composition as well, right?
Real-time production. That which is
Real-time
exactly we
production.
did it right now. That keep on playing and keep on producing and keep on adding of instruments in it.
Right. So
Whether
which
every
brings
time
us to
you
the next question. There's a person who says he has absolutely no music theory knowledge.
okay.
Will he be able to operate the push to,
Of course,
or
yes.
will he face any
Because
challenges?
no, definitely not. Why? Because push to is it's something like, as I told you in the beginning of the entire session for today, is how you tap your toes on your finger. Yes, of course. Some of the practice, sometimes you need some practice, because in this world everything needs a practice. Without that you can't do anything as such. So yes, when it is all about music, you need to play something on the time. So for that you needs little bit of practice for that. I would say basic music theory is little important. Why? Because understanding of the pitch and the time signature. Because end of the day you're going to deal with these two factors only. Technologies comes later on. Your ideas completely coincide and indulge with the process of time signatures and the pitch sense. Why pitch sense? Because you're composing on a scale, a particular scale. A scale is collections, numbers of notes, and there are different kind of scales which you deals with. Based on that, you compose. Now, why time signatures? Because what is the pattern flows, what is the speed of the pattern, how the accent works. That is why the basic understanding of the time signatures. These two things you always deals with as a music maker. All right, that's what it's all about. So
Thanks,
yes, a
Hitanshu.
basic music theory, it's little needed. I mean, without that, of course, yes, nobody can be a music maker.
Right. So it definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
So Hitanshu, most of the people who are watching this workshop are students. So if
Okay.
you could highlight about the discounts that they could get through
Yes,
Ableton,
of course.
maybe
So
it could be useful to them.
in Ableton, as we are the certified trainer as well, where Ableton gives you the student discount of 40%, 40%, which is 40% of. You can see in the sites as well, which is available, and it is keep on updating every year. Now it is Ableton Live coming in, where those who can avail that by purchasing the Live 10 and upgrading to free upgrading to Live 11 once they release it. And there are many certified trainers out there, like we have Uzaifa Said, who can also help us out in that way. And definitely the mainstream line for our Ableton is the inventory, where we deals with that. So that way you can get it a 40% as a student discount if you show your ID card.
Lovely. I think that should help the students
Yes,
to
of course.
get their hands on their own push
Yeah,
too.
that's true.
Right.
Those
So
who are
thank
the
you,
seeker, the
Hitanshu.
music maker, yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely believe a controller which must be needed. Without that, it's very, you know, I wouldn't say it's very hard to make music, but it is always been efficient to make music. These are the efficient tools which lets us help you out immediately making the music then and there. Along with that, live performances. Those who really want to be a musician as a live performer, and so on and so forth. So that's what it's all about. Anyways,
Yeah, Hitachi.
to
So, thanks a lot for hosting this workshop right after a holiday. Um, um, Thank you. Even though the workshop was a bit long, it made complete sense, and I'm sure the students watched it right till the end.
oh, thank you.
And yeah, a thank you note from you, and we'll end it.
And I would like to thank to my team and you, Roger, and of course Team Edu, that allowing me to do this workshop. And take care and God bless all of you. Stay safe and a happy Christmas weekend. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you.